The overuse of social media has become a common issue in today's society. According to Entrepreneur.com, they stated that the average phone user will spend 76,500 hours, or almost 9 years of your life, using a mobile device.
And when I read this headline, I was extremely worried because I grew up with social media. At the age of 10, I downloaded Facebook for the very first time.
Little did I know that it was the beginning of thousands of hours wasted to self-gratification. And because I was exposed at such a young age, I wanted change. I wanted to reduce my screen time.
And with my past experiences in fighting this common issue, here are my 3 tips to limit the use of social media.
Track your screen time and the number of times you pick up your phone daily. This method can be extremely effective because you become more aware of your frequency of your consumption and whether or not you're using social media compulsively. And unfortunately, the overuse of social media is becoming widespread. Now Americans check their phones 96 times a day. That's nearly once every 10 minutes. And this is because notifications by these platforms are designed to be extremely attractive. And also, it's very convenient and accessible to access them anytime that we want. And by this fact, it doesn't mean that we should eliminate technology altogether. But by tracking your screen time, you can be more mindful of your usage and use it with a purpose, instead of letting social media become a compulsive habit. Devote your time and your passions and hobbies. This tip might be a little bit simple, but it can be extremely helpful for those who spend more time on social media rather than working on their passions. Personally, for the past year, I've really been trying to reduce my social media usage. And one of the longest periods of time where I've gone without social media, it wasn't where I was heavily focused on straying away from my phone, and it wasn't willpower. But it was because I was primarily focused on my schoolwork and working on one of my passions, basketball. And this led me to have the momentum to have one of the lowest social media usages I've ever had in my life, and I didn't even realize it back then. And it's definitely sad to see that social media has replaced our time with the things that we love to do in life. In Courtney Seither's article on Psychology on Social Media, she explains that the brain produces 2 chemicals when viewing digital media: dopamine and oxytocin. Dopamine causes us to seek, desire, and search. The pull of dopamine is so strong that studies have shown that tweeting is harder for people to resist than cigarettes and alcohol. And with 10 minutes of social media time, oxytocin, or sometimes referred to as the cuddle chemical, it can rise as much as 13%, a hormonal spike equivalent to some people on their wedding day. So there's no surprise that these addictive chemicals being released when we view social media causes us to search for short-term pleasures rather than long-term goals. Start slow/gradually reduce your screen time. I know that starting slow can be very frustrating because you don't see the immediate benefits when limiting your screen time. But gradually reducing your time on social media can be a very practical method because many people who overuse technology on a daily basis, they typically may take drastic measures to reduce their usage. But because these platforms are so heavily induced with these addictive chemicals, like I said before with dopamine and oxytocin, that these users end up going back to where they started. So my advice would be to reduce your screen time about 1 hour each week so you can make a long-term change. And I really believe that we need to spread awareness to these techniques to counteract the normalization of indulging with technology. This is because it's causing adverse effects on the younger generations. And this is shown in The Social Dilemma when Jonathan Haidt explained, with suicide, the older teen girls, 15 to 19 years old, they're up 70% compared to the first decade of the century. And the preteen girls, who had low rates to begin with, they're up 150%. And that pattern points to social media.
I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I really encourage you guys to follow through these techniques because they really helped me out in the past. And hopefully with my advice, we can get those 9 years back.